West Ham, who's been terrible all season, has finally decided to break up with Julian Lopetegui.
That's right. West Ham are a team.
Julian,
yeah. Are a team where I think the way I sort of view them, maybe because of their history and Lampard being there and starting out there and stuff like that. I just don't really. It's difficult to see them as this type of club like that who just can't seem to figure anything out. They got relegated a couple years ago and they made it back. But this seemed like very much a necessary decision because so now it seems like the reports are saying that Graham Potter will be taking over West Ham. But part of me is just like, why does Graham Potter even want this job?
I see it different. I see it as a team that just won their first European trophy not that long ago. You know, they got some big names. They sold Declan Rice for $100 million. You know what I mean? They got money now. They totally different. They went out and got a BBL, bro. They got some money now. They switched stadiums from a traditional, the bowling ground to the much more Upton Park, if you will, to a much more modern, no one likes it, but it's got the suites. You know what I mean? It's got private boxes, and you can make a lot of money. And it's obviously a big stadium with more seats in it. The vibes aren't exactly just there yet, but I feel like it'll get there.
Right.
Certainly, whenever you switch from a more intimate ground to a big stadium, there's a little bit of that. There's a little bit of time where you need to kind of get the vibes right. Happened at the Emirates for a long time. It was called the Library. Before it was called the Highbury Library. Then the Emirates was kind of like a stale, didn't have the energy. And then all of a sudden now it's a really tough place to play. So that takes time. But they were I felt like they were making the right moves to take those steps up, move forward. You got Souček, who seemingly plays out of his skin. Bowen playing out of his skin. Paquetá is really good.
But I just find like they're like underachieving. I mean,
well, look last year, right? David Moyes kind of did okay, but everyone's like, we can do better. And get us someone who plays a more attractive style. They're like, how about Lopetegui? And they're like, you don't know what we asked for.
And that's the problem. Is like as soon as you get to and a lot of fans of plenty of clubs do this. As soon as you get to like, we should be better. Then sometimes it gets worse right after that, and that's I think with the situation that they're currently in.
I get that, but you don't agree that David Moyes played such a boring style that you got some good young players that are coming up. You kind of want to get someone in there who's better at that kind of stuff.
You in theory, you hope for that, but that's not always what's either available.
Is this
or what
you
ends
being
up
an
happening.
Everton fan just defending David Moyes?
No.
Oh, are you sure? No.
I'm not. Do I think that David Moyes' time did it run its course? Not necessarily. I think that it does they win a trophy, and then it's all of a sudden the ego is like, we should be better. We should be not just in your Conference League. Maybe we should be in Europa. Maybe we should be in Champions League. And that isn't always.
It's like when John Mulaney leaves his lady for Olivia Munn because I'm a big star now. I didn't get me a Hollywood chick.
Right,
you know what I
mean? So
there was other factors at play. I hope you're doing well, Doug. But I feel like I get it. I think you and I are looking at West Ham as two different things, right? I feel like you have a more traditional view of what West Ham is. And I think I view it probably similar like some of those fans that were being loud and boisterous about getting rid of David Moyes and bringing in somebody, younger with better ideas that wants to play more attractive football. I think that we're also in this weird pattern in the Premier League where every time like a more traditional manager loses their job, everybody wants a Pep Guardiola, everybody wants a Mikel Arteta, everybody wants a Fabian Hurstler. They want someone young and playing sexy style, or like a De Zerbi when he was at Brighton. From Potter to De Zerbi was such a big shift. They're like, who's going to do better than Potter? No one's going to do better than Potter. Then all of a sudden De Zerbi comes like, well, okay, now who's going to do better than this guy? I get that. Like I kind of see where the fans are at.
But Potter would still be there. Potter only left because he got the opportunity at Chelsea,
and they paid.
They paid exactly. So but that's the thing. It's like the fans.
But now Potter might be at West Ham.
So it's just and it's probably a better a project that he can build upon and has maybe a little bit more influence versus being at Chelsea. But it just feels.
Would you take the job at West Ham if you were Potter?
No. I wouldn't. No, I think he's.
You don't think West Ham is the right gig for him, or would you stay back and keep getting that Chelsea check?
I think
that's why I wouldn't take it.
I think he is a good enough manager to have a project with bigger stakes. So whether people were talking about him being the Manchester United manager, that's That's where I see Graham
His
Potter
name
right
was
now.
in the running for the English national team.
Exactly. That's where I see him at right now. So West Ham, with all due respect, feels a little bit beneath Graham Potter.
Nah, you bugging, bro. They just won the Europa Conference.
Just how long ago, bro? How long ago?
2 years ago?
I don't even remember 2 years ago, bro.
Bro, when was the last time Everton won anything? And Carlo Ancelotti was the manager there.
Exactly. But where did he go? He went to Real Madrid, and he's still there and was
slumming
winning stuff.
it. Slumming it in Madrid.
Potter went to Chelsea, and it didn't really work out well. Okay,
One move didn't work out.
So
do you think Potter will work out?
I do think. I mean, he's going to keep them up. I mean, and I think that
they're not going to get relegated.
And that's where I think that's where the cause to make the change is just like they're actually maybe a little bit nervous about it. But I just want to give one shout out. We haven't mentioned it throughout the last few weeks, but Mikel Antonio, he just got out of surgery. He looks.
I didn't know that. That's great.
Yeah,
okay.
So it looks like he's going to be okay. I don't know about his. I don't know how severe the injury is.
Who cares about his playing career right now?
But he's alive, and
the fact that he's alive and well is the most important thing. Because that was a really horrific crash.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think actually it's just the last thing about Potter for me. I feel like he's going to get them back in top half of the table. He's going to get them in the top half of the table. West Ham has way too much talent.